Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome to the shit, guys. I mean, worst reviews ever. Too many shows, man. Too many shows. Everything's blending together. But yeah, welcome to the worst reviews ever. I got my man KC Fred. I got the Manic Genius. We got CLS in the building, and of course, it's your boy, the Sophisticated Jerk. So before we go into these reviews, man, how's everybody doing?
Doing good, man.
So
I know Fred's happy today, man. You know, KC about to go down there and get destroyed by Detroit. So got my beaker again, you know, setting it off right tonight. What was you about to say, man? I'm sorry. I was cutting you off when I was
no. I don't even know what I was about to say. I think I was just gonna say I'm doing well. That's it.
Oh, that's a good thing then. If we got you to not talk a little without playing. But all right, I'll go ahead and pull up the slides and stuff. We'll go ahead and jump into the summary. Then, you know, we'll do the ratings after that. So let me pull these up, Manic, if you could.
Yeah, I got you.
All right.
Heart of Stone, 2023 film. Heart of Stone is a 2023 American spy action thriller film directed by Tom Harper from screenplay by Greg Rucka and Allison Schroeder, and a story by Rucka. That's what I'm going to go with. Rachel, an international intelligence operative, must embark on a dangerous mission to protect a mysterious artificial intelligence system known as the Heart. She is tasked by the peacekeeping operation known as Charter to keep the object safe from falling into the enemy hands.
I appreciate you. So we'll go ahead and jump into the director and producers and story by. So this movie was directed by Tom Harper. The story was written by Greg Rucka. I'm going with Manic on that one. This movie was produced by David Ellison, Dana Goldberg, Don Granger, Gal Gadot. That's pretty cool that she was a producer. Jerron Varsano, Bonnie Curtis, and Julie Lynn. So we'll go ahead and jump into the cast section on this one. So again, the cast in the movie, the main person, of course, was Gal Gadot as Rachel. Her co-name in the movie was Nine of Hearts, Stone. So yeah, they kind of like drew that one out a little bit. Jamie Doran as Parker. Sophie Okondo as Nomad, King of Hearts. Matthias, we're just going to leave it at that, as the Jack of Hearts. Paul Reddy as Bailey. Jing Lucy as Yang. BD Wong as King of Clubs. He played in a lot of shows and stuff. I think, wasn't he like the priest on Oz out of CLS? BD Wong. You remember him?
Yeah, he was on Oz. He was on Law and Order.
That's right. That's the other one.
That's where I remember from.
The psychiatrist on there.
He always plays like a priest or a psychiatrist. That's why I always like. They always give him those kind of roles. So, so Aaliyah as Kia, Dewan, Archie as Evo, Enzo Calente as Molanvi, John as the blonde. I don't want to butcher some of the last names, so I'm gonna let him be. Glenn Close as Nancy Morrison, King of Diamonds, and Mark Avenir as King of Spades. So, all right, we'll go ahead and jump into the main thing, the rating. And we'll go ahead. We'll start with KC Fred, since he's at the top of the line today.
Yeah, man. So I gave it a 8.5.
All right. You said an 8.5. That's excellent territory. If y'all can't see the movie rating scale, so he's got it at an 8.5. Yeah. All right, the Manic Genius. What did you rate this as?
There's an 8 in my rating, but it's on the other side. I gave it a 6.8.
6.8. So you're in that good territory.
Yeah.
All right, CLS. What you rate this movie as?
Just a 5.
All right, so CLS put it between bad and average.
No, just average.
Average.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. So I guess that's
okay.
That's average, I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. All right. My rating for this movie, I had it at like a 7.5. So I had it in a very good territory. So, all right, since Fred's the outlier, Fred and CLS, we'll let you guys break it down first. So go ahead, Fred, break it down. Why you rated it as a 8.5? You put it in an excellent territory.
Well, I mean, first of all, this gal is Wonder Woman. I mean, Netflix is trying to get a franchise and they want to grab a movie star, and it just happens to be her who played Wonder Woman. And I felt like she did very well in her role as far as trying to carry this movie. And plus, I am an action junkie, so it's like I enjoy all the action. I know, of course, there was a lot of vibes as far as the Mission Impossible, and even they even had a little cartoon in there that gave you some James Bond vibes as well. But as far as her performance and trying to carry the movie, especially being a double agent, it was excellent. It was action packed. He carried all the way through. It was a little thriller as well. As far as it felt like there was a lot of double crossing. It was one of those that you definitely didn't want to get up and move, because if you did, you quickly got left behind. And so I thought it was very well, and that's the reason why I gave it an 8.5. And truth be told, even at the end of the movie, the way it was set up, you can definitely tell that there's going to be a sequel to it. So I thought for sure, compared to
CLS, like, hey, cut this shit short.
I hope not.
It's
I mean,
definitely
I
coming.
won't be watching it.
It's definitely coming, bro, because that's what Netflix is actually trying to do, is get a franchise. So, and I think they're using this movie as that. So definitely.
So Fred finally got his limited series in a way. All right, CLS, since you had the other outlier on the opposite end of the excellent scale that Fred gave this, man, why'd you rate it as average?
I mean, I really don't have a long explanation for it. I just couldn't get into the movie. I just thought it was boring. Because I mean, we've already seen it before. You know what I mean? The whole plot and everything was just generic. We've seen it before. And she's been doing action movies since Fast and the Furious. You never saw Fast and Furious? That was the first movie. That was the first movie I saw her in, and that came out in 2009. And that's what, part 4, I think? Fast and Furious 4? Yeah. That was the first one I saw her in.
So yeah, for you, is this kind of like the similar like movie prototype of a movie, and then also like with the actors, kind of like they had similar roles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, she's doing a lot of roles that are similar. The one she just did with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds. What was it called? It just came out last summer?
Oh, Red
something, right?
Oh, yeah, Red. Yeah, I forgot the name of the movie, but I know exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, wasn't she like special ops or something in that movie too?
Yeah, that is true. She is playing a lot of them roles.
Exactly. So, and then a lot of stuff, it looked like the only thing that looked real was what the car chase scene. I think they were in it was like a Sprinter van or something, and then was that one chick that was shooting out when they were driving through the city. That was the only part that really seemed real. Everything else was probably CGI. Like that the scene on the blimp where they're fighting inside the blimp, and then the blimp's about to explode, and she's running on top of the blimp about to grab the helicopter ladder and that shit. And then what was it? The scene at the beginning of the movie. Was it a ski resort? And it was the ski lift thing, and then she kind of glides down on the. Yeah, exactly. That shit ain't real. Yeah, okay.
This wasn't to be real.
Exactly. When was the last time you saw somebody do that?
You would.
CGI, right? Like it's just all computer like animated. It's too much, man. It's just too much. And that movie was over 2 hours long, bro.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt
like,
it.
I started looking at the times. I don't be paying attention, but
it was like 2 hours and probably damn near 30 minutes almost. I couldn't even watch the whole damn thing.
Okay. Oh, you didn't finish it?
I did finish it.
Okay, so you can't watch it.
It was more like it watched me. The movie was watching me. I just kind of sat there and I was looking at it, but it was like I wasn't thinking about it. I was watching it, but it was like, okay.
So you wanted to cuss me out for putting this on the list, huh? You're probably like, what the hell?
Dude, I didn't even want to watch this movie, to be honest with you. The trailer, I mean, I did watch the trailer, but it was just like, that alone wasn't even enough to make me want to watch the movie. I was like, all right, well, they want to watch it. Cool. Watch it.
Thank you for being a team player. We appreciate you, CLS.
Yeah.
Sorry to ruin your day.
Yeah. It's just okay, man. It's okay. Like, I wouldn't pay. I'm glad it came on Netflix. I wouldn't have paid money to go see this.
Yeah, you would have been definitely upset. You would have wanted to see it based on that.
But I mean, it would have been a waste of $20. or 15
Let
or
me get
whatever.
Manning in here. Let me get
Matinee.
Manning's breakdown.
Matinee or something.
I also rated this I guess lower than I typically rate movies. I think the movie overall in itself, like the acting, I want to start with the acting. The acting was great. Like I think Gal, the main characters, absolutely did a great job. Nothing seemed forced or, I mean, just all the characters. I didn't see anything that I was just like, And I'm very critical on the acting. If you watch any of my past reviews, so the acting was superb in this one. Great cast. I think the plot overall was good, but for some reason I felt all 2 hours of that movie like I didn't get lost in the movie. I didn't get lost in the storyline. And I think it's because of the director's style with like all the scenes were very choppy. It's like it started off hot, right? When the movie first started off, I was like, "Oh, snap. This is dope." It put you right in the scene, and then there was action immediately after. The little miniature fighting scenes were pretty good, the guns and all that stuff. So it starts off honestly, I started off, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be 9-10 territory." And then it cuts to the next scene and it's just like, "Okay, they made a mistake. Boom. They didn't harp on it too much. It showed some of a bit of a relationship. And then it went to her swimming, and it's just like, okay, now it's getting slow. And what's the point of showing all this?" And I think they were trying to show the dynamic but amongst the team and how she's a little bit of an outsider. And then it's a little bit okay for her to like, break off and have a charter. But like this is supposed to be like MI6 or this is supposed to be the British version of the CIA. And like, you gonna tell me that she could just break away and she has a whole history and they didn't find out that she's working with some underground. I mean, she literally pulled out her whatchamacallit and put it in her ear and was like, "Okay, now I'm back online. Like I'm working for you guys now." And it's just like, I was like, it's a movie. I'm gonna go with it. I can find myself in it, but I think it wasn't really the plot that was the issue. I think it was just how they did the storyline, and it was just very choppy with like such great action in the beginning and then just complete dead spots that I felt like were just boring, and you're just waiting for that action scene to pop up. The car chase scene was phenomenal. So it's just like, but then every action scene after that, it just got progressively worse. And then you went to the final ending fight scene or whatever, and it just wasn't it. It just fell off slowly, and it just got worse and worse as it went through. And then the girl was the Kia girl was just like, they made her character just terrible. It's like she's this know-it-all, but then she doesn't know anything really, and then she's like super smart, but then she's an idiot for like thinking that she can control some stuff, and then she can't really control some stuff, but then she can. And it's just like her character was just not it for me. And then at the end, when they're like, "Oh yeah, she's part of the team now," I was like, I seen it coming, but I was just like, that's so cheesy. Like she should have died. Like I'd have been much happier if she died.
Man, say some of this for the what you would have changed about the movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so
people like
yeah, I was going in.
But you know people like that in real life though. People who are like, that's the difference between being book smart and street smart.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
You know people like that.
yeah, for sure. But it wasn't consistent. It's just like she had so many like wishy-washy moments that it was just like it just felt forced. And it was just like she had wishy-washy moments at always the right time to like push the narrative of the storyline. It's just like these are such extremes that if she didn't have these wishy-washy moments, this movie would have been an hour. and like they would have lost the heart. Like the whole movie's over if like she's not super wishy-washy. And it's just like you put that much pressure on one character, the whole movie is riding on her, really, if you think about it. But yeah, it started off so good and then got progressively worse. So I think I probably rated it a little bit lower because it did that. Like usually movies build up to a climax and then kind of taper off, and then it's just like boom, the action scene. But this one was like started off hot and then you realize, damn, this is 2 hours in and like she's going to the wrong building. It's just like, yeah. So I probably rated it a little bit harshly because of the ending was just not for me. Like the middle and ending was just got progressively worse.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of on the opposite. I say like what you kind of described because I thought I definitely like the action scenes.
Mhm.
Definitely like the acting. I mean, there was some issues with the storyline overall, and I'll break that down later. But I think like how everything kind of connected, and I just typical like CLS was kind of saying spy movie, but with that, I like how they had like the double agency type thing. They could have definitely strengthened that like aspect of it, but I like how she was kind of like innocent in a way and stuff like that. How she broke off from the group. They could have like Manic was saying, tightened that up a little bit. 'Cause, yeah, it was a little too obvious and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a good concept. I thought the action scenes were good, and I like the fact that it threw the little spin out of it because I did expect the guy to kind of turn like that. So I didn't kind of see that coming. So I think
I
that
mean,
was
the
like a
part
good
by
addition.
the one by the fountain when he turns
Yeah,
off.
Yeah, yeah.
By the fountain. It was like a big fountain or something. Yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah, so I didn't even expect that whole like element out of that, but towards the end, it did kind of like die down, and I'm gonna address some of that like with plot and storyline. But overall, I thought it was like a good movie. I think some of the storyline I would have put it in the 8 territory like Frederick because I really liked the movie, or Fred, but it was just some gaps in the storyline that I think they kind of rushed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you said, or I think they could have carried it on to where it could have broke off to like a part 2 or something where they just didn't have to rush the storyline. So that's why I put it in a very good territory and I didn't rate it as high. But yeah, I was struggling a little bit because I was like, I did like the movie, but definitely gonna be some follow-ons on there. But they could have connected it a lot better, I think. So we'll go ahead and move to the open discussion questions real quick. Let me pull back this slides up. So all right, first, and we'll go to CLS on this one. Would you recommend this movie to anyone?
Oh yeah, sure. Someone who's never seen it before. Oh yeah,
Okay.
maybe. Well, I mean, if they like, was it Gal Gadot? If they've seen her other movies, if they like action and they like her, then yeah.
All right. What about you, Manic?
Yeah, I would recommend this movie. It was overall pretty good.
Okay. What about you, Fred?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It was action, and it was, like I said, it was a lot of thriller. It was a lot of suspense. So, I mean, for sure, definitely. Now this was a Netflix movie, so it wasn't like this went to theater. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
at
not
the end of the day, I feel like, okay, Netflix doesn't have the kind of money for all the other movies that we would normally see at the theater. Am I right about that? So
I
I
don't
felt
know.
like,
I'm
so I
not sure
kind of
about that.
felt like,
Right.
I felt like all of a sudden for what they were trying to do, and because this is a big fish in a small pond, is how I looked at it. And so I just kind of try to put everything in proper perspective. And I just felt like, Gal, she did her thing, and she made it happen. So that's the reason why I was like just very proud of her and what she did, because they're really trying to take Netflix to another level. So
No, that's I think that's how I kind of looked at it too, Fred, where I was like I kind of look at the budget with stuff because like you said, and yeah, for like a movie that didn't go to theater, I thought the action scenes was on point, and I did like the technology aspect, when she was on the ski slope and how that charter had all that like advanced technology. So I did like that element to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was with you on that, and I definitely would recommend this to anyone. Like I said, I watched it a couple times already, so.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and jump into the second question. Is like, would you ever watch this movie again? For me, yeah, I watched it a couple times already, and I'll toss it to CLS. Would you watch this movie again?
Not alone.
Okay.
Well, like if I was hanging out with somebody who never saw it and it was on the TV, then maybe with whoever, but not alone.
You say you dozing off though at that point, right?
Pretty
Wake
much.
up at
Like,
the end, like you watched the whole thing with them.
yeah, like if you go over to somebody's house and they're just trying to find something new to watch, and I was like, well, I never saw this, then maybe I'll watch it.
Okay.
With a group.
All right, man. Would you watch this again?
Yeah, I would. I really liked how the artificial intelligence tool called the Heart was utilized. So I would definitely watch it again, just seeing how they executed that, like paying more attention to that.
Okay. All right, Fred. Fred, would you watch this again?
Oh, definitely. You know, I actually really enjoyed all the different locations that they were doing. And I mean, like I said, for them to have the budget that they had and be able to hit all these different locations, I was pretty impressed. So, like I said, I enjoyed it and I would definitely watch it again.
All right. So, what did you think about the plot or storyline? And I'm coming to you first on this one, Manic.
I think I kind of gave it away a little bit earlier. Like I said, overall, I think the plot was really cool. I like the concept of the heart, and I love how the director showed us what it was, gave us like a taste of it. Like, what the hell's going on? What are we watching? Why is she having this green? And but just giving you enough, and you getting a chance to have the opportunity to try to figure out what this tool is that she's using and that he's using, and like, and then they go into a good detail in explaining what it actually is, and they don't do it all up front to try to rush the process. They do it in multiple scenes. Like it's like the third time they're talking about it, it's just like, oh yeah, there's this tool, this AI tool so powerful. Mulvaney is fixated on this tool that's so powerful, it can do this. And like you get different bits and pieces of what this actual tool is, but you get to see it in the very first opening scene of its capabilities. But then later in the movie, at the end, it's fully explained on what it actually can do. And like the possibilities are damn near endless. And you get a chance to see later in the movie, like it being used for the wrong reasons, you know, when they took control over it. So I think the overall plot was super impressive, like coming up with a concept like that. Um, the storyline and execution of it was pretty solid. But like I said, it started off too hot and then it just went dead. And it's just like I would have rather the movie, like I like the beginning scene. I wouldn't change that, but I would have made after the car chase scene, up until the car chase scene, and like, you know, when you find out Parker's the double agent, from that moment the movie just is like, it's almost like it's written by a completely different director because it gets cheesy and corny and like, you know, just the second half of the movie was just so like, dang, y'all really missed the mark. Y'all had so much momentum, and it could have been this. I was really thinking this was going to be in like classic territory, just the way it started out, and then it's just like the primary antagonist was just you know, bloodthirsty, and it just, they could have just did so much better with his character. But yeah, I think the storyline was executed like okay, because it definitely gave elements and showed what, explained what the heart was, and that's like the primary concept of this movie. So I really like that aspect of it. But I felt like the scenes were very choppy from transitioning from one scene to the next. It was just like really too choppy for me, and I definitely noticed that it was 2 hours long, and like certain scenes were just like, I was just like, hey, we could have just skipped this. Like I would have rather, you know, and like the sky scene when they're falling out of the sky, they land in the desert. Like I would have rather them land in like near a village, and that whole incident could have happened. That whole, they didn't have to like do the fake walking and whatnot. But yeah, there was a lot of scenes like that. But I felt like I felt the movie being very long, so I would, yeah, storyline
So
was
you think
okay.
it was kind of like drawn out to a certain
Yeah,
degree?
yeah, way too drawn out, and you didn't get much value because they did really well in the very beginning of every scene was very purposeful. Whether it was showing the relationship amongst them, explaining the heart, or just explaining the different dynamics, or showing that she's like can be like a little bit of a loner, but then you know this is why she's a loner because she's secretly, you know, working for a whole nother organization that's even more powerful than the one she's working for. So those scenes in
Okay.
the beginning were really good. It's just towards the end, the storyline just was just like meh.
Okay. Let me get my man CLS in here. CLS, what did you think about the plot or the storyline?
That was boring. I mean, it was okay. I mean, like what Manny was saying about when you, I guess when you found out about what the
The
what
heart.
the heart was and all that. Yeah, I mean that was cool. Like I said, I just wasn't into it, so I don't know. I don't have much to say.
All right, let me get Fred in here real quick. What did you think about the plot or the storyline?
I actually enjoyed it. There was a theme for me. I was always kept thinking about the word double cross. Um, and it seemed like it had a theme for me because one thing you didn't know what everything was, and the action just kept pushing it. So, like, take for instance, Rachel. She was able to double cross her crew because one thing they didn't know that she was a double agent. Parker, was able to double cross because none of them knew that he was actually the bad guy in there. Um, there was a part in there where all of a sudden, when you learn about the cards, the charter, and there's kings, which I thought they would be queens because half of them was women, but all of a sudden you found out that they had double crossed Parker when he used to actually kind of, you know, be working for them. And then so he all of a sudden takes his revenge and he wants to be able to, you know, double cross them and basically come out and kill them. And he wants to be able to steal the heart to be able to do that. He has his own plot, which he doesn't tell Kia that whatsoever. And so, I mean, it just seemed like it felt like there was a double cross. Like Nomad, there was a double cross where all of a sudden, when Rachel all of a sudden had to reveal herself in order to be able to save her team, all of a sudden Nomad took that, hey, there's nothing above the heart. This is what we're here for. And because of that, she got blindsided and all of a sudden suspended her. And so it was just like, hey, I've been doing this all for you. And yet all of a sudden, this is how you treat me. And so it was just like there was a bunch of things. Like, take for instance, the I think she was African, I believe, or Ethiopian. I can't remember what nationality the lady was that came out there, and they were out there in the sand walking, Rachel and Kia, and here she comes pulling up, and Rachel says, "Oh, you're my angel," and she gets in the car, and all of a sudden she's getting ready to double cross them because bottom line of it is she was trying to get paid to bring them to the killers. She gets there and she says, "Okay, I did my job." Well, the blind bad guy says, "Yeah, right." And then all of a sudden, the deal has changed and then kills her right, Johnny, on the spot. And I felt like that was a double cross as well. I mean, there was just so many double crosses where you thought it was one way and it ended up being the other. At the very end, where all of a sudden Rachel and Kia all of a sudden double cross, what's his name? Parker. At the end, Kia switches sides and all of a sudden teams up with Rachel to double cross so that way they could get the heart back and to be able to save the charter, especially the King of Hearts. And so it was just a lot of double crossing. It was very suspenseful. It was very, thriller like because one thing you was trying to put all the pieces together. I think for you guys, you got to put it in terms of a jigsaw puzzle where all of a sudden you have all these pieces and they're all out on the table. And it's just like, okay, you got this much amount of time. Can you put all these pieces together? And some of them look exactly the same, but it's not until all of a sudden you put the piece in that you realize that, hey, it doesn't fit. It's something else that it's got to be. And that's what it felt like to me as far as in that movie. So I was into the action. I was into the thriller. And like I said, I kind of like the storyline. Of course, there are some changes I would love to be able to make to it, but I enjoyed it. So that's me.
All right. Nah, that's a good breakdown. Yeah, I'd like the plot and the storyline overall because, like I said, I like the action. I did like the element of the heart. You know how they had to advance. This group is like watching over even like a CIA and a MI6, MI5, whatever organization it is. You know, they're like I say like a step above in advanced technology. You know, the parts of the storyline, I think this is what Manic was talking about, where like towards the end, I think they just try to do too much into this movie, because I would have had it in classic territory where like I think they try to cram too much action or like different like I'll say twist in there where it kind of lost everything. Because in this movie I probably wanted to killed all the like charter. And then, like the whole blimps part of the storyline, that's what I didn't like. I'm like, man, you got this like important technology on a fucking blimp. So that's why I was like, all right, man. Like, they could have like did it, a little differently where I think it's movies nowadays, they're just trying to, rush the storyline where they could have like carried this out. Like, okay, we figured out he's part of it. This whole like plan to like overtake the heart and stuff. But it's just like, man, you didn't have to like kill everybody off and go that route. So I thought the storyline was a little rushed, but overall I liked it, because it's like if they do carry it on to a second part, it's like, man, the charter is damn near gone. You really don't need the heart anymore. So it's just like, man, you just kind of remove that from the storyline already, where I think like that was the heart was the strong shooting the Carter, where it's kind of like, man, you should have had like it dispersed more, like it was more members. There was probably just a like regional like charter or something like that. So I think they just messed up on that end. But everything else I definitely loved, about the movie and definitely the action and stuff like that. So we'll go ahead and jump into like what scenes our actor and actress performances stuck out. And I'll go to you first on that, Fred.
Yeah. So Parker, him revealing that he was the bad guy, and for him to all of a sudden kill Yang and Bailey, I did not see that coming. And once he killed them, and she's like, well, okay, obviously you need me because you would have killed me first. And then all of a sudden he swipes at her, and it's actually poison when he cuts her. And then all of a sudden he gets her down, and then all of a sudden he stabs her with the tracker, because it's all planned for him. It's all planned. And that same tracker he knew that all of a sudden they was going to come for her, bring her right back to the charter. She's in there. And then next thing you know, their computers, everything's going down. What's happening? What's happening? Somebody's trying to breach us. Somebody's trying to breach us. And then you find out that it was actually her. And then there was like, she realized it when she finally came through and literally took it out herself. And I thought that was kind of deep, because most of the time when you kind of on drugs or whatever, you don't really know what's really going on. But she had the sense of mind today to take the tracker out because she knew that it was her. I thought that was really good. I really enjoyed that. Another one was, like you were saying, Sophisticated Jerk, was the slope and going down the mountain and stuff. And I thought it was just perfect timing. Like I said, it gave me Mission Impossible vibes, where you're going off the cliff, and it was just in the nick of time. You get on, be able to find a motorcycle. I felt bad for the dude that tried to hit on her at the top of the hill, and then all of a sudden, that's the dude that he steals the motorcycle. No, was it the motorcycle or the little bike?
Yeah, she took the snow sled or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I felt bad for him. I was like, man, you need to go back up there and get you some drinks, because this is not working out.
Never left. My man got robbed.
But I enjoyed that too as well. But those were some of the scenes I really, like I said, I'm an action junkie, so I really like it. I mean, the simple fact that it's actually her, and it's a female that is doing it instead of a dude, I mean, like the James Bond, but it's like the female version type of thing. And instead of Tom Cruise, it was actually Gala that was doing this. I really kind of appreciate it, because one thing, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't think there's a lot of women that could actually have pulled it off or been better than what she did as far as her performance. So I just really enjoyed it. I was on for the ride and enjoyed the roller coaster all the way through.
All right, Manic. What scenes are actor and actress performances stuck out to you?
I think the opening scene definitely stuck out the most. It really set the tone in that this is an action movie. And the other action scenes that followed were pretty good, with the exception of the whole blimp thing. That thing was just that scene actually stuck out too, because it's just like from the time she jumps out of a plane and then just guides herself to the blimp, and then it's just so unrealistic. And then the blimp blows up, and you see her on top of the blimp. You see the blimp blowing up from the bottom. And it's like directly under her, and everything's happening fast, and she's in slow motion. And then all of a sudden, the next scene, now she's running, and it's like, 4 feet behind her, closing in 3 feet behind her, 2 feet behind her, like exploding under her feet, and then she just jumps and grabs. It's just like, I think that was completely over the top.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but at least with Mission
That's-
Impossible, that's what's expected,
Fast and the
And
Furious too.
yeah, Fast and Furious too, and it's
Same.
almost like it almost has a sense of comedy because it's just like it's so over the top and out the. But I felt like this movie wasn't trying to be over the top and out the. It was trying to be like an actual real action movie, and I think that's harder to do than just putting a whole bunch of Michael Bay explosions and making things crazy. But I think that scene right there was just definitely over the top. That stuck out because I was like, man, it kind of ruined the movie because it's just like now you're getting like CLS was saying, like Fast and Furious type vibes where things are just completely unrealistic, and you just go with it because it's just like that's the nature of the movie. Like I thought that this movie was like better than that, so I didn't like that cheesy element. But I think, like I said before, the actors and actresses, they all did really well. I didn't like Kia's character, but it wasn't her acting; it was more or less her character. I felt like they made her just way too wishy-washy. For someone to be in so much power and control and having such unique skills, they could have really, they could have made her just a little bit better. And yeah. I'll just end it on that.
Okay. All right, CLS. What scenes or actress performances stuck out to you?
I mean, pretty much the ones that Fred was talking about. Was it the scene by the fountain?
Yeah,
The
that was
two
a good
agents
scene.
got killed. Who was the guy that shot him?
Parker.
Oh, okay,
Parker.
okay. I was trying to remember his name. Oh yeah, and yeah. I mean that scene was pretty good. And then he said that I guess the follow-up scene when she cuts the device, used a scalpel to cut the device out of her arm when she threw her body off the table.
Yeah,
Right.
that was a real good scene.
Yeah.
I like that one too.
Yeah,
Yeah, for me, I think the scene that stuck out the most was that apartment scene when she came up, she went back and saved them, like disobeyed the orders and stuff like that. So I like that whole sequence that led into that whole like car chase and shit. So I thought that was a real tough scene right there, and how everything kind of unfolded because like the led up to that water fountain scene that you guys mentioned and stuff like that. So I thought that was a real good sequence.
Mhm.
But the one I agree with Manic as far as like I didn't like the cyber chicks kind of roll too much because like you said, to be so like smart to the point where she's aligning with like all these people that want to take down governments and stuff, and now she shot like they want to kill some people. Like, oh my god, you didn't say you're gonna do this. Like, come on. Like you guys are like going on a blimp, putting all this stuff together and trying to annihilate people. You didn't think this guy was trying to kill somebody. So yeah, that's where I agree with you. It's like, come on, man, you could have left that out, just let her ran with it, and like she possibly like died in that movie or something like that. So I know you were probably gonna cover that in what we do different, but
Oh yeah,
yeah.
On the blimp
go ahead.
scene, was she wearing something? Was she wearing like a mask or something on the blimp scene? I was trying to remember what she had on her face. Was she wearing anything to cover her face on that blimp scene? No, right?
Damn, I think it was a mask.
She started off wearing it as she was like, skydiving, but I think it got taken off when she was fighting.
Yeah,
But when she was back on the blimp, when she was running across it as it was exploding, she didn't have nothing on her face, right?
I'm not sure actually.
Yeah, I had to think about it for a minute. She wouldn't be able to breathe. I mean, what altitude is that? I mean, that high? You can't even breathe that high, right?
I'm about
Yeah,
to
you
check
can be
right
struggling
now.
up there.
You would be struggling to breathe, right?
Yeah. That the blimp scene, I think they definitely could have done better on that one. And then also the only other scene that I kind of didn't like was when they kind of got stuck in a room and they couldn't like breathe and stuff like that. I was like, man, how y'all got all this technology and you locked in a room with no oxygen? So yeah, I didn't like that scene either. But for the most part, I liked every other scene. Yeah, I'm like, man, they could have left that out. So yeah, that's what I was saying. I think they were just like, hey, let's add so many elements to this. Where I thought it was already, I was like, Fred, like it's already such a strong, like I think plot and a good storyline and stuff like that, where it's just like I don't think they had to rush it to the point, even like I said, with the heart getting stolen and stuff like that. But we'll go ahead and jump into the last one because I know like everybody got their opinions on what they want to change about it. Or so I'll go ahead and I'll start with Manic. If you were the director or the producer of this movie, what would you do? What would you change or do differently?
Hey, hold on. CLS had an excellent point. Hold on, I gotta go back to. I just
Oh, go
pulled
ahead.
it
Go
up.
ahead.
I just pulled it up on my phone.
Yeah.
So she has the mask on when she goes inside the blimp.
Right.
Somehow the mask comes off and
Right.
she's fighting Parker.
Right.
And they're fighting. You can see her face, nothing. Then
Mhm.
Parker, beats her and then climbs up. And she gets up and she's just like, oh, she's getting up and she grabs a ladder, no mask, and she's climbing up the ladder. And all of a sudden, when she pokes her head up, she has the mask on.
Exactly. I know it was something because I don't remember. I remember her face was out. I remember seeing her face.
CLS, man, that's.
I told you, man. He got like photographic memory on certain things, man.
How you caught that?
And isn't that over 20,000 feet in the air, like you're on a plane, right?
Yeah. No, she definitely had the mask on. Like even when she came, but it just didn't make sense how she lost the mask somehow. It just disappeared. And then as she's climbing, it doesn't show her reach for it, or you don't see it like hanging on her body or anything like that. She just pops her head up and the mask is on again. It's just like, hey, yo, where did she get it?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I ain't even.
So you wouldn't pass out and die. Okay.
Yeah. It's at the 50-minute mark. 51.
But we
You said 51 minutes.
51 minutes and 13 seconds is where she pops her head up and she's
right.
I'm a timestamp that in the comments if y'all want to go back and watch it, so you have a reference.
Actually, no.
So
it's,
basically, she should have died 1 hour into the film. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe that's Manic's change in the movie. That's the point.
Dead already. Yeah, so she was already dead, pretty much.
Yeah.
But all right, Manic, I'll go ahead to the last question for you. If you were the director or the producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently?
I would have did a couple of things differently. I would have scrapped the second half of the movie and got whoever wrote the very beginning, to finish it out. Like whoever was leading with the concept, the idea, because sometimes you get people with great ideas and they start it and it's like, oh man, that's great. And then you get somebody who's like more influential and more powerful, more established. Nah, it'll be better if you do it like this. And then, so I think, there's no way the same person had the same level of input and creativity in the beginning and then they ended it like that. So it's just like, I give whoever had the idea and the creativity in the beginning, I would have gave that person more, creative freedom to like make the movie good all the way through. Because like I said, it was flirting in classic territory. I really wanted to give this one a 10 after like the first couple scenes. It was just like, okay, man, it picked up quickly. But just the second half, just was like kind of like very subpar. And if it would have started off all the way like that, then I think I'd have been cool and I'd have been like, oh, okay, this could be like a 7 or 8, but it's just like I had to drop it like to 6.8 because it just like it has so much potential and they just like I felt like they just dropped the ball. So specific scenes I would change or things I would change. I would like I think you said, Jerk, like I wouldn't have had it in a blimp. I would have had it definitely in like a secured facility with like, the whole charter guards and I would have made them ill. So it would have had to be on some like super hacking type stuff because they could have did a lot with that. Like, hey, you guys got the charter, but we got Prodigy Kia and like she's not as good as the charter, but she can do some stuff. And like they could have got really creative with like the technology to give them like a slight advantage that just gets them in there to take the heart. So I would have changed that whole dynamic. I would have completely changed Kia's character in the sense of I wouldn't have made her so like wishy-washy. I would have made her a little brighter and I would have made her a little bit more, cunning because, if she's going to be this prodigy IT person, she's got to be pretty smart. So I would think she would be able to catch on to things pretty faster than most people. So whenever she was getting like played or something like that, she was still running another play. So I'd have made her a little bit smarter. And then I would have killed her at the end, because I would have made it like, they killed other people in the movie that were like more, that guy I think probably deserved to live, like the guy with the cat. But
That cat was worthless. He did. He should have
Yeah.
died in the first scene, but
it looked like he had a niece that he cared about or something.
Right.
So, but I would yeah, I would have made Kia die, and not in like just like an easy kill. It would have been like in a dang, I really messed up, but I know what I have to do. And she would have had to like sacrifice herself. I would have made a scene like that. And it's just like, yo, she's smart and she knows that, hey, you know, even as valuable as I am, like with this heart in Parker's possession is bad. It's much worse than I could have ever imagined. So I'm gonna do everything in my power, even if it means giving myself up and taking that risk.
kind
But
of like
she
a
was-
redemption story.
Yeah, almost like a redemption. Like,
Yeah, I can't let you be in the sequel.
yeah,
Doing all
exactly.
this bullshit. Now you're
Yeah.
part of the team and stuff. I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't even get a scratch. All she did was I think she got hit in the face with a gun. That's it. Like, after all her little double crossing things, like, I think I would have put one in her leg just on some like,
Yeah, on
know,
GP. Just
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like
Mhm.
And
let
Parker
you know
was
it wasn't right.
yeah. Parker was murking people, like kids, families. Like he didn't care.
He killed the
Yeah,
dude
Parker was.
in the ski lift too. And then he put a cyanide pill in his mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He
yeah.
pinned him in the corner.
But that
put
was a
cyanide
bad
pill in
guy.
his mouth.
Yeah, that was a bad guy. But he killed the little girl, the King of Hearts, her daughter or her granddaughter, because she was in the elevator too, and you could clearly see her with the little ponytail. He's like, drop it. Wait, her family's in there. She's like, drop it.
Yeah, he was like,
I
listen.
said what I said. So, but I mean, they made him super evil, which was cool. I ain't have a problem with it. But I would have changed a little bit his character too. I would have made him more ambitious and have like a bigger drive than just vengeance. Because like, come on now. I mean, you can go around murking people, but after he killed everybody from the heart, like, well, what was his next play? To bring balance to the world, like he would have been the charter, like. So it's just like give him a bigger like. I would have liked him if he laced his pockets a little bit, be like, hey, you know what? Or what I would have changed. I would have made his first move. Be like, you know what? I'm gonna do something messed up to the banking industry and give like poor people money, like on some Robin Hood type shit. So you're just like, oh, okay, maybe he's gonna do something good. Then I would have made him start going crazy and killing people because you'd been like, oh, wait, hold on. Like,
No, man, you know, you just maybe you gave me an idea, man. It would have been funny if, like, you know, because like he was just so, I guess, strung out on, you know, like that
killing.
mission, I guess, where he lost like his people and stuff, and that's what gave him that thing. And like you said, he just wanted to line his pockets. They're like, "Hey, man, we're sorry, you like killed your team." He's like, "Those motherfuckers, like, you think I cared about them? Like, no, I'm trying to get rich, like you said." So yeah, no, I'm sorry.
No, but that's exactly what I would have made him.
Okay.
I would have made him do something like positive, and then you'd have been like, okay, maybe he's going to do some good with the heart, and then I would have been like, immediately after, kill everybody, like kill all the heart. So it's like he could have still stayed who he was, but just like give him a little bit more depth because he didn't have no depth. He was just a guy sought out for vengeance. But the craziest thing about his character was that, like, for some reason, he was hellstrung on killing the charter because they killed his team. But he formed a whole new team who he was having good vibes and chemistry with, and he killed them like that. So it's just like, there ain't no way that this dude could have established such a tight bond with his previous team, but didn't establish no bonds with this next few because he was a cold-hearted killer. So it's just like, you telling me he just transformed from that one incident to a straight cold-hearted killer to where he like can't make any connections? Like, if he went from that to that, he wouldn't have been as attached to his team. He would have been, you know, people who are like that are just detached. So he wouldn't even care about his team. He would have been more care like, yo, y'all tried to kill me. But he's like, oh yeah, you killed my team. Oh, I think he's upset because we killed his team. It's just like, nah, he clearly doesn't care about a team. Like, scene 2.
That's what I was saying. Like,
His character,
like, I don't care about them. Like, those guys.
But can you just tell that she was going to kill him in the end?
Yeah,
You knew she was going to kill him in the end because
Yeah,
he didn't kill her.
Yeah, no, it was pretty obvious.
See?
So let me turn the question to you, CLS. What would you have done differently with this movie? You just saying pretty much it was like too obvious. You would have like
It was because he had the opportunity to kill her and he didn't.
Yeah, definitely. I hate when they like linger it on a little bit. Like
Mhm.
that's always lame in the movies. But let me go
Yeah.
before I toss it to Casey, Fred. Let me because I got a couple ones that I would have changed with this. You know, if I was the director or the producer. So I didn't like the guy Parker's character too much. I think like Manic was kind of lining out. Like there was just he didn't have a lot of depth with him. So what I would have done differently with this movie, I would have had the girl Kia, like Fred was saying, double cross him and then kill him, and she was like be the super evil one. You know, like nah, I set I got this team together, but you know what, I'm gonna kill them and cross them, and I'm gonna take this like the heart and do whatever and stuff like that because she had to. I guess she was on a vengeance track because of her family or something like that. So I would have made her like super evil instead of like naive and corny and stuff like that in the movie where she would have killed like Parker and like he would have been wiped out in the movie and stuff like that after she got the heart, just shot him like, all right, yeah, there goes your little team, something like that, but made her super evil in the movie. And then I think where they missed out in this movie, what kind of irritated me, man, is Parker should have smashed because she was
Mhm.
definitely like feeling him. So I think there should have been like a smash
Mhm.
scene where she was like definitely feeling him, and then he double crossed her a little bit, and then like it led up to the events because it just happened. Everything happened, and he just shot them at the water fountain, like you said. So it was, I think those
Mhm.
scenes were somewhat misplaced where they could have like stretched that team out a little bit more, gave them a couple more missions,
Mhm.
where they would have like operated as a team and not made it so obvious, like CLS was saying, where it's just like, oh, okay, damn, like she's double crossing them. She's just trying to hide out as the charter and stuff. She would have saved them a couple more times. And then, you know, after him and her got together and started having like feelings for each other, that's when I think that he could have like came out who he was and what he was doing and stuff like that. And then maybe that majority of the stuff could have happened in like movie 2 and stuff like that. But I think they just crammed it and missed some good ways to connect everything and make the storyline better.
Did they
So
did,
yeah,
did they kiss in the movie? They did kiss, right?
I
No.
don't think they even
Nah,
kissed.
they
Nah,
just
you remember
danced.
because she was
The
just
reason
like staring him down. You remember when he was like changing his
He
shirt? She
took
was
off his
like,
shirt.
yeah, she was feeling him.
they never kissed or anything, right? The reason there's a
Nah,
reason why
nothing
I'm
at
asking.
all, man.
He was
There's a
checking
reason.
her out at the pool too. He was like,
Yeah, he rolled up in the pool. That's why I was like, oh, it's about to go down in here. But yeah, he just like shot her friends like, hey,
What are
like my
what?
man Fred said, like slashed her and then sent her on her way. Like, I don't give a damn
Mhm.
about none of this.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's like,
there's a reason why I put that in there. Whenever I know with certain actors and actresses now, they put that in their contracts when they film movies now. If they don't want to kiss or have any kind of intimacy with any of the other actors, they put it in writing and they just don't do it.
yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, man, have them like dating or something, like, and cut the black. You don't have to show the like events and stuff, but I
Yeah.
think they should have had them like where they got close and stuff, connected,
Mm.
But
and
that can
then like
affect.
he gets revealed through that. I think they missed a good opportunity on that because they
No,
ain't
but
even get let, huh?
but I think sometimes that can affect chemistry on screen. That's what I'm getting at, really. When actors do that, you can tell, you know what I mean, when they're on screen, the chemistry is not it's not as good. I guess it depends
Yeah,
on
I see what you.
I guess it depends on the movie, the role, I guess.
Yeah, I think they just like after that scene where she kind of like helped out the team and they got kind of close, they were asking those questions. It just cut to him just like going off the edge, and then after that, he was just like Manic was saying, he was just kind of like bloodthirsty, and it just didn't make sense. Where I think they kind of twisted it a little bit, where postponed that like him spiraling out of control, and then like I said, make Kia like the actual very villain of this movie because it was like you said predictable where those two were going to end up fighting each other and she was going to kill him. Like, so I think they could have kind
Mhm.
of twisted it a little bit more with him, be like, wow, okay, I didn't expect that, Because even when they was in that the ski slope incident, I knew he like killed a guy because with the whole like cyanide thing, I was like, that's kind of
Mhm.
weird. That guy like poisoned himself. So I was like, I think he did something up there, you know.
Right.
But it's like it didn't matter. It was just a bad guy. But I had that feeling. But I just kind of like overlooked it. I was like, that's kind of weird. Like a guy's gonna take some cyanide,
Well, I
up
mean,
in a
he
ski
killed.
slope.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, well, but I think that's what they do though. That's what a spy does when he gets caught. They take the cyanide pill just so because they figure if they get captured, they're gonna torture, try to get information out of them, right? So they just take the
Mhm.
pill.
But I mean, most of the time that's for like extremists. But somebody that's
Mhm.
just hiding something like on a blimp, he
Oh
ain't
yeah.
taking no damn. That's why I was like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that don't seem right. But I was like, all right, I just bought into it. But I did sense something was off, like with that whole situation and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. They do that shit in real life though with the cyanide pill though. Somebody's in real
Yeah,
life.
they do. Nah,
They do that in real
yeah.
life.
So that's why I kind of just moved along with it, but I did since something was off with that. All right, let me get Fred in here. So, Fred, if you were the director or the producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently?
Not much. The two things that I would probably definitely is try to put more original material in there. I know it's Netflix and they don't have the big budget like, Paramount or, people like that, but it just seemed like it felt like they were stealing from so many different other movies to put in that you didn't really feel the originality of it. And so it was like you felt the Mission Impossible, you felt the Fast and Furious, you felt the James Bond movie in there. And the cyanide that actually reminded me of Captain America type of thing, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So I mean, there was just so many different things. The blimp reminded me of the recent Indiana Jones, that had came out, the third one and stuff. There was just so many different things that it was just like they want it to be a franchise, but in order for it to be a franchise, you really got to make it your own. You can't really just start stealing, we call it in English, was it plagiarism or something like that. So I mean, you can't be doing that if you want this to be able to really go. And then the only other thing I would probably change is the reality is I really, really wanted some more depth as far as the origin of the deck of cards, the charter itself. I mean, what made these four who they were? And it was so obvious they were so powerful. The king of diamonds, the king of clubs, the king of hearts, and the king of spades. And so it was just like you had these powerful people, and I would love to be able to see the origin of how they came to be and form the charter itself, to be honest with you. You saw what they did, but it would have been kind of cool to really get some, backing on that to be able to really kind of go forward. And then you would have your little aha moment. But those were pretty much the only two things that I would really, um, change for that matter. So
Yeah, Fred, I like what you was talking about with the charter. Yeah, I think they just took them out too easily, man. Like, it's like, man, if you have that much technology, it's just like, man, you're gonna have a better, I'll say, protocols than that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think they just like wiped them out too soon. Where like, because I know they're going to a second movie because of the end, but it's just like, man, I think they could have like squeezed this one out to like two movies and it would have connected better. So I
right.
definitely would be interested to see what they do with the second one. I'll definitely watch it. But yeah, I just think, man, like they had such a tough storyline, like Manic was pointing out in the beginning, where it's just like, hey, just stay consistent with that. Don't try to do too much. And then, like carry it on to like a follow-on movie and stuff like that. And I think that thing would have definitely both would have been like classic territory because it would have connected so smoothly. So yeah, maybe somebody need to get fired a little bit. Or maybe they're just like, hey, cram everything in one movie. We don't know if we're gonna get a second shot at this. So build this thing with like every action scene. They're like, look, we need this blimp.
I mean, they had two screenwriters, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's why I think sometimes, and like Manic was saying, yeah, sometimes somebody's like, hey man, we need to end it like this. It's like, nah, like
Yeah.
just make a good storyline and don't worry about like worrying about the, like cramming everything in and stuff like that. It's just like, man, leave it good. All right, does anybody else have anything else on this movie or anything else we probably missed?
I would like to say one thing, if that's okay. I did see this thing, at least this vibe, and you guys can let me know if you felt it or if you didn't feel it. But I felt like this was like a lesson of what I call potential. Potential is something where you need to be, it needs to be seen. Potential is something where you have to be able to trust. And I just feel like potential also comes at a cost. So people have expectations. And just a quick example is like the King of Hearts, her name was Nomad, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
it was no bad.
Well, she was in the movie. You see that she had to. She actually saw Rachel. It even talked about how they saw her and her potential when she was 20 years old. So she took her and all of a sudden decided to train her. Now, it would have been nice to be able to see that type of training, to be able to realize how she became who she is, and maybe they might explain that in the sequel.
Yeah.
But then there's a part in there with the potential. Nomad actually had to learn how to trust Rachel, and she didn't trust her. That's why she all of a sudden said, "You know what? You're suspended. You know, I'm not feeling you right now." But then at the very end, she had to trust her because she had nobody else. You know, and so Rachel, because of that and that lesson that she had to go through, next thing you know, she sees Kia. Kia is also young. So then there comes a part where all of a sudden she sees Kia and she lets her know, hey, on the computer, I see you. You know that? I see you. And so then Rachel has to be able to trust her. And so you see that part, especially when all of a sudden it comes to them trying to blindside and double cross Parker, especially at the end, because they had to come together. And she would have never made it if Kia would have never all of a sudden had that door open for her to be able to get into the facility to be able to find where they were. And because Rachel was able to see the potential in Kia, that I felt like was the birth of this new team at the end, where you got the guy who was part of the IT team, and then of course her, who she ends up giving the Joker card to. And instead of you going to jail, hey, you know what? I see your potential. Be a part of this team, and let's go ahead and start this new sequel. So I kind of felt like that was the behind the scenes type of thing that they were really trying to do. Like I said, I love all the action. I love the thriller and the suspense, but I always feel like there's always some kind of lesson or something that's going on that they're really trying to give to the viewer. And so, you know, there's in real life, we see potential in other people. It's just a matter of whether we pull them in and make them be a part of our world or not. And so I thought that was really cool. And that's something that I actually got from the movie.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw that connection and stuff like that. I think that would be a good the charter, like you said, doing I say front end of the series and stuff like that, laying that out. I definitely would like to see that. You know, I think that's where they kind of miss some of this stuff, like bring how it formed together and stuff like that. So they miss some opportunities. I don't know if I like that team that they about to assemble too much towards the end. Yeah, I don't know if I'm feeling that. I think they should have left some of the other people. That's what I'm saying. I think it should have been like don't kill everybody in the team, like kill a couple of them, like left because I forgot the one lady's name, the other one that was in the group. I liked her character, man.
Yang.
Yeah. So her definitely kill the cat guy. Anybody with a cat, they gotta go. You know, yeah. He could have went, but you know, left like one or two of them and stuff like that. So they could have did that different. Like somebody got shot and then they survived. So I would have liked to see at least one of them in a group, but definitely think they missed the opportunity there. But overall, man, great concept, great movie. Just a little rushed, but you know, moving forward, it's like you don't have to cram everything in there and stuff like that. So I think they got a good concept on their hands for Netflix.
Definitely.
And for Manic and CLS, it's like, don't make this 2 hours. So were we shooting for like an hour and 20 minutes?
I could do an hour. I could do hour 40.
Hour 40.
Yeah, with this type of movie with action.
CLS at 45 minutes.
It depends.
Action movies are so tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're so tricky because you start off with amazing action explosions and stuff like that. It almost makes the other explosions that come after it like not as thrilling or exciting versus like a movie. If it's like mostly plot and it's no action, and then all of a sudden an explosion happens, it's like, oh my gosh, that was magnified. So yeah,
well, I think they need to start hitting us up, you know, as a group, getting our making us like consultants or something, and having us like getting our take on some movies. So maybe we blow up to that point where we could like chime in on some of this. Like, nah, you know what?
Don't put that.
Don't put it on a blimp. You know, like you said, make it a security, like a top level bunker or something like that on an island nobody visits. You know,
yeah. I did like how they kept moving the charter. I mean, that makes sense. Like, you don't ever want to stay in one place, and they had them in different, you know, random locations. Like, hey, this is our new home. Like, and then this is their
And
new
they
home.
had him in a ballerina. What was that place? Like a ballet or something?
Yeah.
They're
It's
back
like
there
a-
talking. Oh, I did like Glenn Close. She's one of my favorite actresses, man.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all right, we'll go ahead and close this out, man. So definitely a wide range of opinions, and a couple people been commenting on the videos and stuff. They said they like the approach we're taking in a different perspective. So I like it also. I like hearing people's different perspectives because going back, it makes me go back and like watch stuff like, dang, I did miss that element. So now we'll keep doing this. Please recommend some movies to us if y'all have any ones y'all want us to view and stuff like that. We're gonna keep trying to like mix it up, and we don't want to stay on any specific niche. So that's why we do try to do different movies and stuff. Gonna start branching out a little bit, looking at like different I say streaming services, and even we're gonna start possibly doing like movies that's in the movie theater that's current at that point. So we're trying to work all that in, and then also if anybody's interested in ever pulling up, please hit us up. If you're a movie fanatic, we'll definitely try to incorporate you. So, all right, man. We'll go around real quick and get our outros, and we'll close this out. So, Casey, Fred, if you have any outros, it's your time to shine.
No, I'm always the same. Definitely IG, definitely Facebook, Twitter, all the good stuff. But KC Fred. Kansas City Chiefs, they played tonight, baby. Let's go.
Boo. I'm editing that out. No, I'm joking. All right, Manic. Any outros and shout outs, anything, man?
Nah, I just enjoying doing this review. Many more to come. Find me on IG at the Manic Genius. That's it. See y'all next time.
CLS.
Oh yeah, just same thing. You can just find me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. This is CLS.
All right, man. For me, follow me on IG. Follow the channel, follow the other shows that's on there. The shit guys talk about. I was struggling with that earlier. We got too much stuff going on. Also, after work conversations. And definitely we're gonna be cranking out more of these movie reviews because I'm a movie fanatic. We all of us, we kind of came together because we always be talking about movies and stuff. So this is just kind of our thing and stuff. So like I said, if y'all have any like ones we don't come across, a couple people sent me some stuff on Tubi. So I don't know if we're gonna bring that on here, but I'm gonna check them out, man. If they're worthy, then we might review them and stuff. But yeah, definitely like feel free to like comment on stuff and give us your perspective because I just like hearing it anyways. But get you a beaker too, man. They was clowning me on the shit guys talk about. CLS was giving me some shit for drinking out of this. But all right, man, we'll go ahead and close this out. Thanks again for tuning in and see you next time. All right, bye.